Have you ever wondered why some men can make women chase them endlessly, while others get ignored, friend-zoned, or quietly replaced without even understanding why? What if I told you that hundreds of years ago, a political genius, Niccolò Machiavelli, actually ran what we could call a psychological experiment on human desire and uncovered secrets about attraction and seduction that most men will never learn in their lifetime? In this video, we're going deep into Machiavelli's dirty experiment on how to seduce a woman. I'm going to reveal every principle, every subtle tactic, and the hidden psychology behind them. Tactics so powerful that they work on a deep emotional level, almost like flipping a switch in her mind. By the end of this video, you'll finally understand why some men are effortlessly magnetic to women, while others try hard, fail, and remain invisible. You'll also learn exactly how to use these timeless strategies in your own life to create genuine attraction and desire without being manipulative or desperate. And here's the kicker. These secrets aren't obvious. Most men spend years guessing, overthinking, or making the same mistakes, while the right approach can have women drawn to you naturally, almost without effort. So make sure you watch until the very end, because one of these principles will completely change the way you approach women forever. And before we dive in, do yourself a favor. Subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and get ready, because what you're about to learn isn't just theory. This is raw, practical power. Section 1, the man behind the experiment, Machiavelli. Before we dive into the tactics, it's crucial to understand the man who invented them. Niccolò Machiavelli wasn't just a political strategist. He was obsessed with power, influence, and human behavior. Living in Renaissance Italy, a time of political intrigue, betrayals, and shifting alliances, Machiavelli had to understand people on a level most could only dream of. Every conversation, every gesture, every reaction could mean the difference between survival and ruin. But here's the fascinating part. Machiavelli didn't limit his study to politics. He turned the same analytical lens toward human desire, attraction, and relationships. He believed that desire, like power, could be observed, studied, and strategically influenced. In other words, he saw attraction as a psychological formula, something that could be decoded. And here's where it gets shocking. He didn't just theorize. Machiavelli ran what we might call a dirty, psychological experiment on women, quietly observing their reactions, testing limits, and noting exactly what made women emotionally attached to men. He treated social interactions like experiments in a laboratory, tracking behaviors, responses, and subtle emotional cues. Through his observations, he realized that most men completely misunderstand attraction. Think about it. Most men chase relentlessly, overinvest their time and attention, and assume that effort automatically guarantees love or desire. Machiavelli discovered that this is the fastest way to be ignored, undervalued, or friend-zoned. His findings flipped the conventional understanding of attraction on its head. Desire is not created by effort or desperation. It is created by strategy, by combining scarcity, unpredictability, and subtle power plays. A man could naturally trigger emotional investment without trying too hard. By studying court life, relationships, and human interactions in depth, Machiavelli uncovered 3 fundamental truths about attraction. Women desire men who appear rare, valuable, and in control. He observed that when a man seemed ordinary, always available, or overly eager, women quickly lost interest. But a man who maintained a sense of value, self-respect, and independence became magnetic, almost effortlessly. Emotional investment is triggered by tension and unpredictability, not comfort. Women are drawn to a man who challenges them emotionally, not one who hands them comfort and attention on a silver platter. It's the subtle push and pull, the uncertainty, and the controlled mystery that sparks desire. The most effective seduction is subtle manipulation disguised as charm. This isn't about being cruel or deceptive. Machiavelli understood that charm, humor, confidence, and charisma could be carefully used to guide emotional attachment, making a woman feel drawn to a man without realizing why. Here's the key takeaway. This isn't about manipulation in a harmful sense. It's about understanding human psychology so deeply that attraction becomes almost automatic. When you master these principles, women are drawn to your presence without effort, because your behavior naturally triggers desire and emotional investment. Machiavelli's genius lies in this. He saw patterns where others saw chaos, and by decoding them, he gave men a blueprint for creating attraction that is timeless, even 500 years later. Section 2. The Principle of Rarity. Why Scarcity Creates Desire. Machiavelli's first secret to seduction is deceptively simple. Make yourself rare and valuable. But simple doesn't mean easy, because most men do the exact opposite every day. Think about this for a second. When a man is available 24/7, replies instantly to every message, drops everything at a woman's whim, and never has his own plans, what happens? To her, he becomes invisible. Not because he isn't charming, not because he isn't kind, but because humans inherently value what is scarce. Machiavelli observed this pattern centuries ago. He saw that women were naturally drawn to men who were unpredictable, not in a chaotic way, but in a way that kept life interesting. A man who could surprise, tease, or challenge her emotionally held her attention. In demand, women noticed men who were sought after, not arrogant, but men who clearly had options and a life full of activity, slightly out of reach. When a man wasn't too easy to get, her mind naturally filled in the gaps, creating curiosity and emotional investment. Here's the dirty truth: when a man makes himself scarce, he transforms from a mere person into a prize. Suddenly, attention becomes valuable. Interest grows. Desire builds not because of effort, but because he signals worth through controlled availability. Machiavelli's experiment tested this principle with two very different types of men. Type 1. The always available man. This man chased relentlessly, gave compliments without thought, overshared personal information, and responded immediately to every text. At first, women enjoyed the attention. They felt noticed, appreciated, even flattered. But here's the problem. Over time, constant availability became predictable and boring. What initially felt exciting now felt ordinary. The more attention he gave, the less valuable he appeared. Eventually, he was taken for granted or quietly replaced. Type 2. The strategically scarce man. This man was different. He didn't disappear completely, but he wasn't always at her beck and call. He delayed responses just enough to create curiosity, pursued his own interests, and maintained a life that was exciting and independent of her. The effect was profound. Women noticed him more, valued his attention when it came, and without realizing it, began chasing him. His scarcity signaled that he was someone worth investing in, someone with self-respect, ambition, and control. The psychology behind scarcity. Why does scarcity work so well? Because desire is not purely logical, it's emotional. When something is scarce, our brains perceive it as valuable and desirable. This isn't just about dating. Look at economics. Gold, rare collectibles, or limited edition items are more valued than everyday objects. Attraction works the same way. By being strategically scarce, a man creates tension, curiosity, and emotional investment, which triggers a natural psychological pull in women. This principle taps directly into human evolutionary instincts. Women are drawn to men who demonstrate value, independence, and selectivity. How to make yourself rare without being gamey. Scarcity isn't about playing mind games, it's about creating genuine value and maintaining control over your life. Here's how to apply it. Delay responses strategically. Don't reply instantly to every message. Show that your time is valuable. Have your own life. Pursue hobbies, social events, and personal goals. Make your world exciting and she'll naturally want to be part of it. Be selective with attention. Compliments, invitations, or favors should be given deliberately, not freely. Keep a sense of unpredictability. Surprise her occasionally with interesting insights, stories, or playful teasing. Set boundaries confidently. Saying no or having limits signals that you respect yourself. This is irresistibly attractive. By combining scarcity with value, you don't need to chase women. They are naturally drawn to you. You go from being a man who follows to a man who commands attention. Machiavelli's insight was clear. Attraction isn't about effort. It's about perception. A scarce, valuable man triggers desire effortlessly, while the overly available man destroys it with too much accessibility. Section 3. The Power of Emotional Tension. Next, Machiavelli discovered that desire isn't built on comfort, it's built on tension. Think about your own experiences. When someone is too easy to get, your brain quickly labels them as ordinary. But when there's a hint of mystery, unpredictability, or challenge, desire skyrockets. In his experiment, Machiavelli observed that women became emotionally attached to men who kept them guessing, were emotionally composed, exhibited mild aloofness. One of his famous observations: women are drawn to men who can withhold a little attention without losing interest in them. This creates what psychologists call the pull effect. The more you appear slightly unattainable, the more she invests emotionally. Machiavelli's experiment revealed something even more shocking. Men who are too eager, too expressive, or too predictable trigger emotional boredom, not attraction. Section 4. The subtle art of manipulation. Here's where it gets controversial. Machiavelli wasn't shy about using psychological leverage to create desire. He noticed patterns. Women often respond to subtle power dynamics. For example, compliment too much, loses effect. Show too much emotion, signals weakness. Be predictable, creates boredom. Instead, Machiavelli's method was subtle. Mirror desire. Make her feel she wants you without giving away your own wants. Strategic absence. Pull back just enough to spark emotional tension. Mystery and selective sharing. Reveal enough to intrigue her, but not enough to exhaust curiosity. In his notes, he even recorded how women often preferred men who challenged them. Emotionally, not physically, not materially, but intellectually and psychologically. The dirty truth? Seduction is often more about strategy than charm. Section 5. Playing the long game. Machiavelli also understood timing. Instant gratification kills attraction. He tested two approaches. Fast movers, men who gave too much too soon. Women enjoyed attention temporarily but lost respect over time. Patient strategists, men who moved slowly, tested limits and created anticipation. Women became emotionally invested and even obsessed. This is why Machiavelli's principles still work today. Emotional attachment isn't created in one day. It's built gradually, layer by layer, with subtle power and controlled tension. Section 6. The psychological pull. One of the most powerful takeaways from Machiavelli's experiment: attraction is less about what you do and more about how she feels. He observed, women attach to feelings, not gestures. Emotional scarcity beats physical presence. The illusion of control keeps her invested. Here's an example from his notes. If a man alternates between showing attention and withdrawing slightly, the woman begins to chase emotional fulfillment from him instead of expecting him to chase her. This is why the so-called alpha male behavior works. Not because of arrogance, but because it creates emotional tension and value. Section 7. Modern application of Machiavelli's experiment. So how do you apply Machiavelli's dirty experiment today? Be rare and valuable. Don't be constantly available. Cultivate skills, hobbies, and a life that's interesting without her. Create emotional tension. Don't overshare. Let her wonder what you're thinking. Be strategic with attention. Compliments, texts, and favors should have timing and purpose. Be unpredictable but consistent in value. Small surprises, subtle challenges, or showing confidence in adversity. Move slowly, don't rush intimacy. Let desire build gradually. When done correctly, women will invest emotionally first, chasing your attention rather than the other way around. Section 8. The ethical boundary. Before you get too excited, here's the reality check. Machiavelli's methods are psychological tools, not excuses for manipulation. The point isn't to deceive or harm. The point is to understand human nature and behave in a way that maximizes respect, attraction, and emotional connection. If you combine these principles with authenticity, confidence, and integrity, you're not manipulating, you're activating natural attraction patterns that already exist. Section 9. Common mistakes men make. Machiavelli's experiment also highlights mistakes most men make. Overinvesting too soon, sending too many messages, giving compliments or trying to impress, being predictable, always showing up when called, revealing all thoughts too early, confusing desperation with charm. Women sense eagerness, which kills attraction. Ignoring emotional psychology, treating attraction as physical or transactional instead of psychological. Avoiding these mistakes is crucial. Attraction is psychology first, effort second. Section 10. Real-life example. Let's take a real-life example inspired by Machiavelli. Imagine two men meet the same woman at a party. Man A approaches confidently, talks too much, gives her a full account of his life, and asks for her attention. Man B Approaches, speaks less, teases subtly, maintains confidence, and disappears for hours before replying. Guess who she'll remember the next day? Man B. Why? Because value, scarcity, and tension trigger emotional investment, not effort, not explanation. Section 11. The Dark Truth. Here's the darkest truth from Machiavelli's dirty experiment. You can't force attraction, but you can create the conditions where desire becomes inevitable. Attraction is about power dynamics, value, and emotional investment. Women chase men who challenge them, intrigue them, and make them emotionally curious. The men who are ignored often fail because they surrender their value too early. Machiavelli's genius was in observing these patterns, without bias, documenting them, and proving that desire follows strategy more than effort. Section 12. Action steps to apply today. Here's a step-by-step blueprint based on Machiavelli. Develop yourself first. Skills, hobbies, social status, fitness. Be a man of value. Create scarcity. Don't be constantly available. Delay texts. Show that your time is precious. Use tension wisely. Tease. Be playful. Create curiosity. Master subtlety. Compliment sparingly. Reveal selectively. Let her chase. Make her invest emotionally, not you. Do this consistently and attraction will flip naturally. Conclusion. Machiavelli's dirty experiment wasn't about trickery. It was about understanding human desire at a level most men never reach. It revealed an uncomfortable truth. People don't crave what is easily available, predictable, or eager. They crave what feels earned, uncertain, and slightly out of reach. Most men repel attraction not because they lack value, but because they reveal everything too quickly, move too fast, and try too hard to be liked. The principles are simple, yet devastatingly effective. Be rare so your presence carries weight. Create tension so connection feels alive. Be unpredictable so curiosity never dies. And move slowly so desire has time to grow. These are not tactics you use on women. These are traits you embody. When your life is full, your emotions are controlled, and your validation is scarce, people naturally lean in. They listen more closely. They invest more deeply. Apply just one of these principles today, and you'll notice a subtle but undeniable shift in how women respond to you. Longer eye contact, more effort, more respect. Apply all of them and something profound happens. You stop chasing attention and start commanding it. You no longer seek desire, you become the man it gravitates toward effortlessly. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.